Hello, everybody. Very happy that you can join us today for this brief webinar on doing business continuity disaster recovery through Azure. My name is Gagan Gupta, Program Manager in Azure Site Recovery. I'm joined by Utsav, who's also a Program Manager in the Azure Backup team. And together, we will talk to you about BCDR strategies through Azure. So with that, let's begin. I want to start by talking about data protection is a shared responsibility between our customers and us. If you look at this table that is on the right-hand side, you'll see there is some text that is colored in blue and some text that's colored in black. Blue is the area of responsibility for the vendor, in this case, Azure. The black text is the area of responsibility for the customer. So as an example, if you look on the extreme right-hand side, if you're getting software as a service from a vendor, then the whole thing, the data protection responsibility resides with the vendor. You don't have to do anything. As you start moving to the left, platform as a service or infrastructure as a service, which is where most of our offerings reside, or even on-prem, which is where our hybrid offerings reside, the responsibilities of our customers, they keep increasing. I want you to note that Azure runs a highly resilient and a highly secure and available platform that still doesn't prevent things going wrong with the data. You can see the data is in black. Let me tell you what I mean by going to the next slide. What if your workload that is running on Azure gets hit by ransomware? Or what if somebody accidentally deletes some data that's crucial to your business operations? Or even worse, you have a bad actor who deliberately decides to delete some data. How do you recover from that? We all know about all the outages that happen because they hit the headlines. The question is, can you recover your mission critical business services should an outage were to happen, whether it's man-made disaster or natural disaster? The last point here is some industries like healthcare, like financial services, have got legislated norms laid down for business continuity and disaster recovery, which, by the way, is usually shortened to BCDR, in case you're wondering what's that acronym at the top of the slide. So BCDR stands for Business Continuity and Disaster Recovery. And like I said, many regions in the world have got norms that customers have to maintain certain BCDR practices such that in case the systems were to go down, they can recover from that quickly. So all of these things here that we are talking about on this slide, in case any one of these things were to happen, then this actually falls in your domain, the customer's domain, of making sure you're able to recover from that. Within Azure, we offer you two solutions to actually help you achieve this. Before I start talking about these two, I'm reminded of what our customers sometimes tell us when we talk to them as to why they're interested in disaster recovery or backup solutions or both. The reason is the questions that they are struggling with is my environment secure? Number one. If something were to happen to my environment, can I recover? And how quickly can I recover? So these are the questions that customers struggle with. And therefore, we want to talk about two solutions, two offerings from Azure. One is disaster recovery and the other is Azure Backup. Disaster recovery is employed in those scenarios, as the name implies. If there's a disaster, could be man-made or could be natural disaster, for your mission critical services, such that you can quickly be back up, usually in a matter of minutes. and be running the same workload that was originally running on the primary side. Now it's running on the secondary side. So the key part here is to be able to recover quickly and also to be able to not break the bank in having a DR strategy in place. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Backup comes into the picture if your data is either corrupted because of some accidental delete, or you want to archive the data for weeks or months or years, whatever your requirement may be, whatever the regulatory compliance requirements may be, then you definitely need Azure Backup. That's why we say you need both offerings. So let me take a few minutes to talk about disaster recovery. The product in Azure that does disaster recovery is called Azure Site Recovery. So Azure Site Recovery offers best-in-class disaster recovery solutions to our customers. Best-in-class means we do RPO, recovery point objective, of the order of minutes. RPO means how much data you're willing to lose in case of a disaster. RTO is how quickly you recover from a disaster. And I believe we are one of the few, if not the only vendor in the industry to offer an SLA-backed RTO, which means we offer an SLA-backed guarantee that you'll be up and running in that stipulated time. Our disaster recovery solutions encompass a wide variety of scenarios. So not only do we do Azure Cloud Native DR, which means cloud to cloud DR, but that means as your primary is running in cloud, and then you fail over into the cloud as well. We also have coverage for hybrid DR, where your primary environment is on-prem, and then you fail over into the cloud, and then fail back to on-prem once everything comes back to normal. I want to highlight one more point here on this slide, which is we have customers today that are literally running thousands of VMs per deployment. So this is an enterprise grade solution that people can use. Having talked about Azure Site Recovery, I want to talk a little bit about some of the enhancements that will be coming up over the next few months. Some of these enhancements, by the time you see this video, will already be out. Some others will come out within a month and a half. One enhancement that we've been talking about for some time is the ability to do disaster recovery within a zone. See, typically customers have been doing disaster recovery from one region to another, and that's great. Sometimes, though, some customers have got the requirement of, I want to do disaster recovery within a region. So you may remember a region has got multiple zones. What if I want to fail over within a zone and I don't want to go all the way across to another region? And there are some advantages to that. One is because the distance is quite less. Therefore, the latency is less. The other advantage is you can have actually the same virtual network set up between primary and secondary. So your work to set things up between primary and secondary gets reduced a lot. Sometimes some customers actually want to maintain data within a given geographical region, just because either for compliance reasons or that's what they want to do. That also gets enabled through zonal DR. Another thing that's coming down the pipe soon will be a completely new, overhauled, upgraded architecture stack for our hybrid DR offering. And a lot of the points that were causing some difficulties in terms of ease of use have been ironed out. So we now have automatic updates for the on-prem appliance, automatic updates for the agents, the mobility agents that are installed on the on-prem machines. We've simplified the onboarding process. We have put in some enhancements to provide high availability of various components that are on-prem. And lastly, we've got some new platform support features. So these are features that are already in Azure and that we in Azure Site Recovery are now supporting. So one that has been an ask for some time is large disk support. So we can now handle replication of large disks up to 32 TB. Another one very useful for those customers who run applications like SCP and the like, proximity placement group support, PPG. Third one is Azure policy support. Policy support refers to automatically enabling DR on a machine based on certain rules. So these are some of the enhancements that are coming down. With that, I'm going to hand it to my colleague Utsav to take you through Azure Backup.
Thank you, Gagan. Now let's take a look at how Azure Backup can help you protect yourself from various data loss scenarios, like your data assets being accidentally or maliciously deleted, corrupted, or even being held hostage by a ransomware attacker. In addition to this, Azure Backup can also help you meet your compliance needs, which dictate you to retain your data for long terms. Now, let me show you how Azure Backup can offer you this best-in-class data protection solution. And it all starts with native workload integration. And this is why you don't need to write any scripts or set up any servers to take your backups or provision any storage to store your backup data. Also, since you don't need to set up any infrastructure, this is extremely cost effective. Now, once you start taking your backups, backup stores all your data in the highly reliable Azure Blob Storage service. Also, Azure Backup ensures that your data is highly durable and gives you various security and data protection tools that can help you level up the security for your backed up data. Another important thing to note over here is that all your backup data is stored in a different subscription and a different fault domain, which means if anything were to happen to your data sources, your backups are completely isolated and completely unaffected. On top of this, Azure Backup also provides you various management tools that make management at scale very easy for you. These include various monitoring, alerting, and reporting tools. You also get policy-based management and role-based access control to control who can perform what operations when it comes to your backups. Now, with all of this, Azure Backup provides you the ability to back up various different types of workloads, which could be critical for your businesses. It ensures that you have the highest levels of security and resiliency for your backups. Also, it ensures that the management of your backup is not just simple, but extremely cost effective as well. And these form the three tenets that Azure Backup operates under. And we continue to strengthen and build on these tenets. Let me show you a quick glimpse of how we are doing this and what are some of the latest updates and announcements. We're adding two new workloads to the list now. From now on, you can also back up your Azure PostgreSQL databases. And starting next month is the limited preview for backup of Azure Blob Storage. We also have some great enhancements for some of the existing workloads. We have some great new features that make management simple and cost effective. And one of these that stands out is the Azure Backup Center. Now, Backup Center is that single pane of glass that you need to manage all your backup assets. And these could be across different vaults, which in turn could be across different subscriptions, different locations, and sometimes even different tenants. We also have some great new features that can help you improve the security and resiliency of your backups. Let's have a look at these closely. Now, recently we announced support for encryption of your backup data using customer managed keys, which gives you much more control over encryption of your backups. We also recently announced private endpoints for backup, which allow you to run your backups and restores without punching holes in your firewalls and your network security landscape. A new addition to this is soft delete now being available for all workloads. Now, soft delete has already been available for Azure VM Backup and Mars-based backups for a while, and this has been extended to database backups like SQL and SAP HANA Backup now. And this gives you that added layer of protection against deletion of your backups by retaining data for additional 14 days free of cost. Azure Files Backup further extends this soft delete to the storage account that houses the protected file share. Now, coming to resiliency, we have some great new updates over here also. Azure Backup now also supports zone redundant backup storage for your backup data. This gives you the ability to improve your resiliency without having to go out of the region and without any downtime. Another very important addition over here is the support for cross-region restore for your SQL and SAP HANA database backups. This improves the durability of your backup data and ensures that all of your data is recoverable at all times, irrespective of the availability of the primary region. Let me show you quickly how easy it is. So I'm here in my vault, which is there in my primary region, and all I need to do is go to my backed up items, which brings up all of the instances that are being protected. And when I switch over to my second region tab, you'll see in addition to the Azure Virtual Machines line item that was always present, we now have a line item each for SQL and SAP HANA databases as well. Let me just simply go and click on these. And to initiate my restore, all I need to do is click on Restore to Secondary Region. Now I need to fill in all the details. Another important thing to note over here is that you need to have a vault in your secondary region, and it should have a SQL server registered to it. And this is the SQL server to which your databases are going to get restored to. So I have some of these details already pre-filled for me. Then I go ahead and choose a recovery point, and the advanced configurations look good. Me click OK. And there we are. And as you can see now, my restore has been triggered. Now I can go to the secondary region vault that I have and go to my backup jobs. And there we are. It's already underway. For more details on cross-region restore, do check out the link at the bottom of the slide. So we see how Azure can help you meet your BCDR objectives using truly out-of-the-box solutions like Azure Backup and Azure Site Recovery. These solutions, they're not just simple to use, but they're highly reliable and extremely cost-effective. Cost-effective because not just they don't require any infrastructure to be set up, which makes it very easy to get started, but also in the long term, because you don't need to upgrade or maintain any hardware or any software for performing disaster recovery or backups. This brings us to the end of the session. There are some great resources you might want to check out. We also have a related session on what's new in Azure Backup, where we talk about what is some of the latest and the upcoming content in terms of Azure Backup. Also, check out the BCDR landing page that can give you more pointers on your BCDR strategy. And of course, MS Learn to help you get started with Azure Backup and Azure Site Recovery. So this was it from our end for now. Until next time, have a good day, and thank you for watching.